on the live stream. We just had a few technical difficulties, but you haven't missed anything. Welcome to people joining virtually and those in the chamber. As always, Cabinet is live streamed and is now, I understand, it commenced. This is a physical public Cabinet meeting though, and there will though be colleagues observing remotely. Tessa, are you comfortable reading the protocol?
Only speak when invited by the chair, but if you wish to speak, please raise your hand. All participating members to keep their camera on during the proceedings unless they are having technical difficulties. Please ensure that your mics are muted when you are not speaking. If you're referring to a specific page or picture in the report, please refer to the page number. Please do not use the chat function for putting formal questions to the meeting or making comments. But if you have technical issues, please use the chat function. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Tessa. I don't think we've got any Cabinet colleagues joining remotely, but anyway, the hands up function remotely and the hand in the room. We are on a bit of a time limit because one of the scrutiny commissions is using the chamber at 7 o'clock. So it's my intention to rattle through the agenda this evening to make sure there's no clash with important business this evening. I did just want to recognise, though, that the governance officer that normally supports Cabinet, I'm sure all of us will be pleased to know, gave birth to her baby. So Jessica Feeney welcomes their child into the world. I think they're fit and healthy, I think, Tessa. So we're going to pass our congratulations as Cabinet, and obviously she has started her maternity leave. And I know that arrangements are being put in place to support Cabinet, but I think the main thing is congratulations, Jessica, as she's a common fixture to my right and your left during these meetings. Moving on, apologies for absence. There are 3 apologies for absence: Deputy Mayor Bramble, Councillor Coban, and Councillor Chapman. Are there any other apologies for absence? No. I've got no urgent items of business. Are there any additional declarations of interest? No. There's no intention to conduct any business in private, nor have had any representations received under item 4, although there are some, I think, exempt appendices that are attached to some of the papers later on. In terms of questions, deputations and petitions, we have only had one via the monitoring officer, and that is from former Councillor Stopps. Sadly, Councillor Stopps is unable to attend tonight, but the question is as set out. I have submitted questions on the Environmental Information Regulations some months ago. The latest communication from the FI team on October the 4th saying my question was being dealt with as a priority. I've asked via Grill Phil, as I was told the answers have been completed but not yet received. Can you tell me why the delay? I think, Councillor Kennedy, you're not going to fully reply, but you're going to endeavour on the public record to say that we will get back to former Councillor Stopps. I've also seen, though, a response from the FOI team, and you may just want to, for public record, touch on that. Councillor Kennedy.
Yes, we've conveyed our apologies to former Councillor Stopps. The reason for the delay was sick leave and bereavement leave in 2 of the key members of the team. We do believe we have now sent all the required information, the requested information, I should say, to former Councillor Stopps, and we will check that via the office. Thank you.
Thank you. And I've seen the dated correspondence as the 27th of October. So what we need to just check is that that was actually received and if anything was missing. But
exactly.
That's to reassure the public and former Councillor Stopps. Unrestricted minutes of the previous Cabinet meeting held on the 24th of October. Are we happy to agree them? Agreed. Thank you. Capital update 7 in my name. Bear with me a second, colleagues. As set out, I did just want to highlight continued investment in our parks and highways from section 106, as well as the decision to dispose of the commercial unit at Tower Court, which was the former site we were hoping to work with Hatzola on as a new ambulance station. The Hatzola organisation has since found alternative premises. I don't think there's anything else that I need to draw attention to. Are we happy to agree the recommendations or any questions or comments? Agreed. Thank you all. So item 8 is obviously in Councillor Chapman's name, but I'm going to move it, which is the overall financial position statement. We did just want to highlight a slight deterioration in the financial position, but I know CLT are working hard on those overspends, and the other part is obviously the outline, continued outline of our work on the cost of living crisis, and to recognise that the Money Hub has formally launched, and we held the summit around the council's response with the community's cost of living crisis. I wasn't going to add anything more though. Does anyone else want to come in on the OFP? Happy to note it. Noted. Thank you. Strategic plan in my name, fantastic piece of work. Thank you to all the senior officers that have been a part of that, but especially Sonia Khan for coordinating, and cabinet colleagues for their extensive input in the strategic plan. Given it's coming to full council, which is a far wider public and member audience, I'm going to save my remarks until then, but just commend the work that's happened. And for people watching at home, a strategic plan is the council's response to the manifesto, as well as its own update of its corporate priorities, how it's going to work in partnership, and indeed the mayor's priorities. But as I say, we'll pull all those together on Wednesday when there's a debate in the chamber. Any other questions or comments? We're happy to send it on there. Agreed? Great. Item 10 is SEND strategy. Councillor Woodley.
Thank you. I am conscious of time, but I can't miss the opportunity to say how pleased I am to bring this strategy forward. We have 4 main priorities within this strategy, which are areas I've invested a lot of time in and hold extremely dear. I feel like I've been in the brief for 5 minutes, but I realised just now I've had 4 children's ministers pass by in that time. So I hope we'll see some sort of progress at that end as well. Within our priorities, we're looking at outstanding provision and services. Not only do we need that for our children, but we also want to have more of that in borough, and we're undertaking work which is well underway. We want an earlier response. We do know how difficult it is for families that are waiting for outcomes of particular education, health and care plans, and we do want to step that up. Preparation for adulthood is a massive thing. Actually, not only preparation for adulthood, but all points of transition for our children and young people as they move across our education system. And the big one, joining up our services where perhaps the most significant change can happen. This strategy has been actively informed by our SEND Partnership Board, where education, health, social care, disabled children's services, parents and policymakers meet regularly, and which needs to be better informed by our parent carer networks, and we're investing time into improving those, and in our pupil forums as we fold the strategy into an ambitious action plan, which obviously needs to be monitored, held to account, measured, and we will do all of those things with support of our parents and carers, but also scrutiny. We need those people to help us to uphold the underpinning principles of the strategy that's actively listening to our children and young people, co-production in a real sense, actually really working with our parents and carers, and outstanding communication. These are the things that parents, carers, children and young people with special educational needs tell us that we need to improve. And to do just that takes a coherent strategic approach that values transparency, multi-agency working, quality data, and a golden thread of excellence and ambition. We want the absolute best for our children and young people in Hackney, and that means every child. I hope everyone will welcome the strategy, and I look forward to coming back to you with information on our action plan, which will sit beneath it.
Thanks very much, Councillor Woodley, and just echo everything you said about the work that's gone into developing the strategy. I think it's a huge achievement to bring it here. We've been wanting to be in this position for a long time, and it sits alongside our investment in in-borough provision, which obviously goes alongside the manifesto, but also improving how those services knit together on the ground now. And so, again, thanks to officers that have helped coordinate all of that. I do, though, highlight that what has not been solved by the strategy or an investment is the funding gap from national government highlighted in 7.2. and I may have missed something last week, but I don't think I have in terms of a long-term rectification of that, and so that deficit increases, and we'll obviously go back to government and continue to lobby on SEND as we have done in the past. With that, are we happy to agree the strategy and look forward to the action plan updates? Yeah. Agreed, thank you. I did just want to know, Councillor Marima has joined us online. Item 11, Susan, sorry, Councillor Fajana Thomas, is the Wick Woodland item. There is, I think, an exempt document. If we do want to discuss that, we'll obviously have to come back to it at the end of the meeting, but if we're comfortable with it as a package and we're not going to discuss the exempt item, then we can also take it all together now. So, but Councillor Fajana Thomas.
Thanks, Chair. Just to say a few words before I commend this report to Cabinet. The paper is recommending to Cabinet to approve the Council to implement a PSPO in Hackney Wick, Hackney Marshes, Millfield, Dubneyfield, and Mabley Green. This is following the consultation early in the summer between May and July this year. The full report of that consultation is included with this paper. The PSPO in Woodland, Hackney Wick Woodland, was implemented back in 2019 in response to the growing number of complaints about unlicensed music events, raves, and antisocial behavior in the Wick Woodland and the surrounding area. That PSPO expired in June this year. So in a way, this new order is a renewal of the previous order from 2019, but extends to Hackney Marshes, Millfield, Dubneyfield, and Mabley Green. The reason for the extension was what we've seen following the enactment of the 2019 order in Wick Woodland, was we saw a significant decrease in the number of reported incidents in the Hackney Wick Woodland, but however, there was a displacement to other parks and green spaces in the immediate area, which include the other areas I've mentioned. So this PSPO will ensure that the community safety officers and enforcement and the police have the necessary tools to deal with any antisocial behavior, and we ensure that local residents can get a good night's sleep without disruption, and also continue to enjoy these spaces at daytime free of ASP, and also protecting the environment. Wick Woodland, Hackney Marshes, Millfield Park, and the other area we're seeking to protect are Hackney Green Lawn, places of natural beauty that are being polluted by littering, defecating, urinating, and damage to trees and shrubbery. So we hope with the PSPO, we're going to make sure that the green areas are protected and the places remain places for everyone to enjoy. And I thank the head of community safety who have helped to coordinate this process, and to the consultation and engagement team, as well as the legal team for the work they've put in. Thanks very much. I commend this report to Cabinet.
Thank you very much, Councillor Fajana Thomas. Any questions or comments on the report? We're happy to agree it. Thank you. And the exempt appendices is obviously a list of incidents, which you can understand why they've been kept confidential.
Yeah, that's what it is. The exempt area that we got incidences with data in there and personal information, police report. That's why that's exempt. Happy if anyone wants to discuss that. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you again for the package of work that's led to this point. In terms of wider, I think there was a question at Mayor's Question Time where I sort of covered off our approach to homeless residents in this context. And obviously we've never used PSPOs to, we don't use PSPOs, we don't treat homelessness as an offence, and just to offer that further reassurance, given I was questioned about it a couple of weeks ago. Are we happy to agree the report? Great, thank you. We're not going to do the exempt penalty, so I think we're done. The next cabinet meeting is very soon on the 12th of December. So I look forward to seeing you there, and obviously full council is on Wednesday. So we'll be back in the chamber discussing some of the same issues. Thanks a lot.